Welcome back to Let's Play Saga Red Dead, where we play Red Dead Redemption and tell cowboy stories. And just as promised, I'm going to tell a female gunslinger, or at least a frontierswoman and sharpshooter story. I'm going to tell the story of Calamity Jane. I feel this was a good one to start with. It's a name most people have heard. So Martha Jane Cannery was born in 1852. She's better known as Calamity Jane. She was a frontierswoman, a sharpshooter. In addition to many other exploits, she is known for being an acquaintance of Wild Bill Hickok, and late in her life she appeared in Buffalo Bill's Wild West show. And let me see. So, I've got in her own words how she got the name Calamity Jane. Because I've always wondered that, and I actually never knew. And I was doing some research, and I found a quote from her that talked about how she received her name.
Greetings.
So I'm going to read from her own mouth. It was during a campaign in 1972 that I was christened Calamity Jane. I was on Goose Creek, Wyoming, where the town of Sheridan is now located. Captain Egan was in command of the post. We were ordered out to quell an uprising of the Indians.
Thanks, mister.
And were out for several days. Had numerous skirmishes during which 6 of the soldiers were killed and several severely wounded. When on returning to the post, we were ambushed about 1.5 miles from our destination. When fired upon, Captain Egan was shot. I was riding in advance, and on hearing the firing, turned in my saddle and saw Captain Egan reeling in his saddle as though about to fall. I turned my horse and galloped back with all haste to his side, and got there in time to catch him as he was falling. I lifted him onto my horse in front of me and succeeded in getting him safely to the fort. Captain Egan, on recovering, laughingly said, "I name you Calamity Jane, the heroine of the plains." I have borne that name up to this present time. It's a very interesting story, and it absolutely makes sense. So Captain Egan, or not Captain Egan, Calamity Jane was a reckless woman. She was well known for wearing boys' clothes. She was, all of this stuff. And back in the day, that was a little bit odd.
What are you doing?
And she was reckless, but she had a long battle with alcoholism, which eventually contributed to her death. But she rode scout for Custer. She worked with the army, of course, with Captain Egan and stuff, against the Indians. But one thing Calamity Jane had about her that was very rare for someone who did all the things that she did is that she was actually a very good-natured woman. She was kind-hearted. And then even later in life showed no ill will towards black people, towards the Indians, towards anyone. And this is a woman who fought war against the Native Americans. She didn't show any ill will towards them after the war.
I think I prefer the duel. Either I'd kill him and be able
she
to
was
be
just trying to live
her
her life.
Kill me, and I could be set free from ever having to
Now,
speak to
Calamity
him.
Jane was featured in HBO's television show Deadwood. And they kind of show a little bit of this, where she is the way she is, right? She was drunk, and they show a little bit of this about how her kind-heartedness, and she was...
I mean, folks who need shooting, I try and shoot in the back.
She had a bottle of liquor, and she offered
But you fought duels.
offered a drink to a black gentleman, and back
And you
then
ain't interested
that
in
wasn't
fame.
done.
I don't think so.
And
Strange.
in the
But
show,
you
you
like
see the black
fortune.
gentleman.
money,
He's trying to
sure.
turn it down because
Okay. And forgive me, mister.
he's
I
not
seem a little
wanting
desperate.
to get
I
her in
am a
trouble,
little
and
desperate.
that's a
This
sad
book,
piece of
I've
reality
gotta make a
that
thing of it,
happened
and,
back
well,
then.
there's a whole
But
list of gunfighters,
it was a reality back
legends,
then, and in the
every
show,
last one.
she
Emmett
tells
Granger,
him, she goes, "I'll share a drink with
Flacco
whoever I want to, and
Hernandez,
anyone else can
Billy Midnight, Black Bell.
go F themselves," for
Maybe you can
for lack of better words.
Ask him about
Um,
Calloway.
and she shares the bottle
Any
with
of
him,
them
and they
get
don't have
uppity?
cups; they're sharing the bottle. And he goes to wipe the
Shoot 'em.
bottle off, and she
Can't believe I just
she
said
literally
that.
tells
You
him,
want me
"If
to
you
go
wipe that off,
find
I'll
some
slap that
sad,
smile right off
deluded
your face."
fools like him? Ask if
She
he
didn't
was the
care
greatest.
what you were, who
If
you
they
were, or
get
anything
uppity,
else. She
shoot
was
'em.
just
Does
living
sound
her
a lot
life.
worse than it did in my head.
How much you paying?
Well, a lot. Half the proceeds of the book, if you help me get it written.
I'll see what I can do.
Oh, get photos.
So
Okay.
there's guys
There are
asking us
notes
to
on
go
the back
after
of
some
those portraits
gunslingers,
that
so we're
show
gonna
Major
do that.
Tom.
I'll see what I can find out.
I
But
imagine we'll be stuck here upon your return.
I normally try not to talk
Here are some
over
other
them.
flop-outs.
So sorry about that. I didn't realize that he was just chatting it up. But anyway, she was a very kind-hearted woman, and that's something that that a lot of people just, I guess they don't realize about someone like Calamity Jane, who was a hard woman. She later did settle in Deadwood. She became great friends with Wild Bill Hickok, and in all that, when the smallpox in 1876 and hit Deadwood, she worked as a nurse to help heal the sick in the epidemic in the Deadwood area. So I mean, it's a very interesting thing. She ended up leaving Deadwood, and she went all around the world. I mean, she went with Buffalo Bill's Wild West show, where she told stories of the Old West and the plains and of being a scout, and she did some sharpshooting and whatnot. She traveled all over the place, and when it was all said and done, she returned to the Black Hills Territory, where she ended up dying in 1903. She was on the train, and when they pulled in, she was so ill that the conductor or the porter, I'm not entirely sure which, went straight to the hotel and got her a room, and they carried her to the room, and they went and got the doctor, and a few days later she died, and they say it was contributed to her drinking. There's a chance that it was a mix between the drinking and her age and just being sick. She had inflammation of the bowels and pneumonia. And I mean, nothing personal. Pneumonia kills young, healthy people, much less old alcoholics. So it may have been the drinking, but it may have just been that she was sick. A lot of people try to say it was the drinking, but with pneumonia, I've had pneumonia bad enough that I've had to be in the hospital before, that I've been hospitalized for a few days. And if it weren't for the modern advancements in medicine, there's a chance that I'd be dead from it. And I'm much younger than Jane was when she got sick, so I like to think that it was the pneumonia and not the drinking, although it didn't help. In either case, she was buried next to Wild Bill Hickok there in Deadwood, or outside of Deadwood. And I've actually, in person, I have seen her grave and Wild Bill Hickok's grave. And it was a great honor of mine to stand before and give respect to those people who were my heroes when I was growing up. So,
Howdy.
in either case, we're going to go here with Arthur Morgan and try and hunt down a gunslinger and see what trouble we can get into. I hope you enjoyed the story of Calamity Jane. The Wild West show, Wild Bill's, or not Wild Bill, Buffalo Bill's Wild West show has got me thinking. I want to do some, at least one more person from his, and then his story as well. So we'll just do like a little 3-part mini-series about people from the Wild West show. But with a twist, next week I'd like to do, a Native American. Because there were some Native Americans in the Wild West show, so I'd like to do a Native American and pay homage to a very impressive man who lived a very impressive life, Sitting Bull. So we'll do Sitting Bull next week, and hopefully you enjoyed this story. Hopefully you keep enjoying this story. Let me know what you like, what you don't like. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Did the university send you? Because if they did, they can get lost. I have never been so insulted in all my life. Really, laughed at. Balderdash. Are you quite certain you're not a spy? Those wretches will do anything to destroy me. My theories are correct, and I can prove it.
What are you doing?
I am the leading amateur paleontologist in the nation, and not one university will hire me because, unlike them, I actually have ideas.
You're a what?
I study dinosaurs. You know, big lizards.
Are they real?
Of course they're real, you nincompoop. And everywhere.
Everywhere?
This state was once a vast, shallow sea that had the most incredible animal that could walk, swim, and fly. Quite unique. I call it Totalisaurus. Just for now. I'm trying to gather all the evidence. Miss Deborah McGinnis.
Arthur.
Good to meet you. Could you give me a hand here, please?
Of course.
Yeah. Listen. If you find any of these bones around the country, send them to my homestead at Furwood Rise in Cumberland Forest. Or mail me the locations. I'll reward you handsomely for your efforts.
Sure. Why not?
And we'll be proving a lot of stuck-up buffoons very, very wrong. Which, trust me, is the very best thing about science. Good day to you, sir!